my viewers to our channel today, and again we are privileged today to be here this Valentine weekend, where we shared our love to our loved ones on Friday, but then today we are here to share our love also to our viewers. Our viewers, you mean a lot to me, and it is because of you that I have decided to make this video, and it is because of the questions that I've had here and there in my inbox. These questions are concerning the videos that I've already put in my channel, those who have watched, and some people are wondering why I chose this niche of religious life. I got two questions from the suggestions of people, and therefore I decided that I'm going to share with us all, those who will ever watch this video, about them. So the first thing is like, why did I choose this niche of the religious access? And my answer is just a straightforward one, but I would say I didn't really like sit and search and then decide. It just came to my mind. Okay, let me say I had a concern. Yeah, I had observed these religious people for quite some time, and I had seen something that looks similar in a few of the people that I had watched closely, and I decided like, okay, before I decided, so I was like, people are really suffering, and not people as all people. I observed that those people who live religious life, a few of them don't really make it in life at all. They just go like from worst to worst. They change completely, their life changes completely, they never go back to normal life, and some of them even stay bitter for the rest of their lives. And then I also saw like family members. The family members get so much disoriented. They also never go back to their normal lives after the incidences happen, like their daughter or their son has left the congregation. These families never go back to the normal lives. So then I was like, now something needs to be done. Who will ever teach these people that this is a norm in the church? It's not something new, and it has happened since the, I would say, since the inception of the Catholic Church, those days of St. Paul in the ministry in Rome, or in Antioch, where the Christianity first began. I would say this thing of people going and coming, let's say they backslide, it has been there, so it's a normal thing in the Catholic Church. But then, as much as it is a normal thing, I discover that most people don't know that it's normal. People take it like almost like a taboo. It should not happen, and if it happens to just one out of like a million. But that's not true. It happens to most. Actually, the one it happens to are more than those that it doesn't happen to. I remember we used to say some time back that kukaa katika maisha ya kanisa ni kama ni bahati, lakini kuenda kutoka, like if you go to become a sister and after some time you leave, it was like that was the norm. Like kukaa katika maisha ya kanisa ni bahati, lakini kuenda ndio ni lazima. So people should know that people really leave the Catholic Church as city servants, as sisters, as fathers, and as brothers. Many. There are so many out here, but you may never get to know them. You may never get to see them. You may never get to hear about them. You may never have known them or seen them. So it happens, but it is like it's happening chini ya maji, and I don't know why that is the case. I'm not an expert to say why it happens so, but I know it happens chini ya maji. Most people don't get to know about it. So now when most people don't get to know about it, let's say for example it happens to me, so my family is like, why did it happen to our daughter? They don't know that it happened also to another person. And then those other people also don't know that it happened to me. So you find like people are just worried and wondering, why did it happen to our daughter? Why did it happen to our son? So they remain in a state that they keep questioning why it happened to their daughters or sons, without knowing that it has happened to another family's daughter or son, and that this thing is as old as the church. Now, when I was in that state of thinking, like, who will liberate these families which are suffering? Because it's not even taught in the church. Actually, it's only one person who has ever told me that when she left the congregation, my friend Cecilia, she told me that when she left the congregation, Bishop went to her local church and explained to the Christians that I want you to understand that this daughter of mine did not just leave the congregation because she has done something wrong, or she just saw that it is not her life. So you see, actually that is the only person that I can say that at least somebody, not somebody, at least the bishop went to explain about it. But you find in most cases the church is quiet. Families don't know that it happened, so they may think that it is only their daughter or son who has left the congregation. So I decided, before I decided, I was in that state of like, who will ever liberate these families? Then, those who know me, I have always admired to be a journalist. Actually, it's only that my mom didn't know what journalism meant. That's why I didn't find myself as a journalist, because I was explaining to her when I was still very young. I was telling her I want people to sit and watch me giving them news. My mom really didn't understand what it was, and even my sisters didn't understand. So I ended up becoming a teacher. But then again, when you do what you don't like, again, you don't do it with all your passion. So I did teaching for maybe 10 years, and then I was like, no, after all, I don't like this, and this is not really what I wanted. So, sorry, in this era of YouTube, I got a friend who told me that since I have always admired to be a journalist, there is a way I can venture into it. now when this mind came into my head, so I was like, okay, I go there, but which news do I give people? What will I tell people? Like he explained to me a lot about it. Like you have to maybe have a niche, and you have to keep it active. Like always, you have to have something that you give to your people. And I liked the idea, and I saw that gap, and I said I will fill the gap in uh, in the YouTube channel. So I said this gap is going to be filled. That is when this thing now popped into my mind. I would say it was from God, because I really didn't think about it, like, but it just came immediately into my mind. And when it came, it never left. For 2 months it was just staying there with me, and I was like, I didn't think God was telling me how you should start this thing, the first step, the next, every step. He took me through all the steps, and he also showed me the challenges that I would encounter, and he kind of prepared me, like, you will start it, it will not be easy, but you have to endure through it until the end. So I started it as God had told me. I would say the first thing that I got, like, I don't know, but I believe it was from God. He kind of told me that you have to start with the Christians first. You interview the Christians and hear what do they know about this thing that you want to. Because at first, when it came to my mind, so I was like, I will get to talk to the ex-sisters, priests and fathers to explain themselves to the world, how life is inside and what made them to come out. But then God told me, you cannot just come from nowhere and start explaining to people what happens. You have to hear the views of the Christians. So that is how I started interviewing the Christians. And I would say most people are in a rush these days. People don't have time to give to others. So it wasn't like somebody, you would not interview somebody for like 5 minutes. People were always in a hurry. Some would say, no, I don't want to appear in YouTube. Some, after asking, unanirecord alafu nanipeleka wapi? Nawambia nitaweka kwa YouTube. No, I don't want you to be in YouTube. So it was not easy. And then, of course, I didn't know how the church would take it. But I would say I enjoyed through it. It had a lot of challenges. Like, you don't just go and find somebody just there and you say, I want to interview you. You first create a rapport and then say what you want. So it takes like 10 minutes. So in a day we would go like, we want to interview 4 people, but it would not be possible because you time people after mass and people are in a rush, and then you aim at interviewing 4, maybe you find you have interviewed 2. So it was discouraging, and of course I was not doing it in my local church. So those were the challenges that I encountered with. But then, because already I had them, I actually had written them down, the challenges, because I'm telling you, this thing was like God sent. So I had foreseen this challenge of like, you will not get to interview all the people that you want to, and some people would not like. So it was not so hard for me to go through it. So I went through it very successfully. successfully until now. It came to time after hearing the views of the Christians, because actually I found that most of them, they know what's happening, because you ask somebody, those who have watched the videos, they know. They say, the Christians say that they know, they have seen these people, and some of the reasons why they come out would be like, some want power, some want money, some it is because of the vitina ya watu, disobedience. They know actually that, and also it surprised me because I never thought that they know. That's what my thinking was like. They can't know, but they know. They know that these people are there, and some have not succeeded in life, and some have been successful, and it's not an easy life to be just there. So that also made me happy, because it is good when people at least have an idea of something. So when you talk about it, like, people have a clue of something, and then when you go to explain more about it, at least they get to understand it better, because they already have an idea of what you're talking about. And therefore I took that challenge up, and I continued. So I interviewed the ex-sisters and fathers. Okay, I've not gotten to interview the fathers, because the two that I reached declined. But I hope with time they will maybe change their mind, or we will get somebody else to interview. But the ones I've interviewed, they explained their story, how it was in their religious life, how they found life in their community, and how they came out. They decided they stayed, and so like it wasn't their call, so they decided to leave. And I liked the one of Brother Bernard. He was a Franciscan brother. I really loved how he took his journey of living. When he wanted to live, when he realized that was not where he wanted to be, he started the journey now of living. So he was listening to himself keenly, and he discovered what he wanted. And then the process now of living the life, the community life, I just found it very interesting, because it was like, okay, before he decides to leave, he was under depression, of course, and he was taking a lot of fear from there. And he reached a time when he told himself, oh, why am I taking a lot of fear nowadays? So he discovered himself, and he realized that he was not free, like he wasn't happy with where he was. So he decided that he will leave. And why was he leaving? To get married. So he said in the interview, he wrote a letter and forwarded it to the formation team, and they were also surprised to hear that he was leaving, and they were like, yeah, you can take some time out and then you can come back. But he had made his mind, because he knew what he wanted. He just wanted to get married. So he had made his mind that when he leaves the community, he's going to stay, he said, for 2 years, and then he will get married. And that's what happened. And yeah, he got married, and now he has 2 boys. So it was a successive transitional moment. But then he said he got the challenge now out here where he came to, he was staying with his uncle, and it wasn't easy, as he says. There were challenges, like he didn't have finances, and the uncle would question him and sometimes would abuse him, but we thank God he managed, he made it. And he's happy with his life right now, and he enjoys being out here and doing his I don't know, he's happy, or his happy career, or I don't know, but he's just okay and happy to be out of the religious life. So the next person that we also got to interview was Agnes Isrin, who is also out and not married. She has no child, she's not married, she's not so successful as she would want to be, and it seems like she has faced a lot of challenges, and life has become hard for her. And as she says, she doesn't even know, she doesn't really understand exactly why she came out, because for her, she said they decided, it is the community that decided for her to leave. She's not the one who chose to come out, and therefore that makes it even harder for her, because once you don't, somebody decides for you something, we all know that it is difficult for somebody to decide for you what you should do instead of you deciding for yourself. Like even career-wise, if parents chose for you, like in my case, as I was saying, I wanted journalism, but the family so it is good for me to be a teacher, and they used to say you are a good teacher, but if it's not from within, as much as they say, I don't know whether there are people out here who have succeeded, but for me, I know that as much as they say it is good, you are good, if it's not from within, it is going to be a challenge. I don't know about my teaching career, because students used to admire me. They used to write. I remember when I was in Merrimount, they used to write for me, evaluate me, and they used to say, you are a good teacher, but I don't know. For me, I was finding it very straining to be in class, to prepare a lesson and go understand there for 45 minutes, teach the students, make sure they understand what you've said. So for me, I would say anything in life, if it is not you who decides, they say inspiration. When you are inspired, when something comes out from you, you will always be happy doing it. And even when you get setbacks, like you see also when I got setbacks in this channel, in this niche of interviewing Christians and then ex-religious, there were challenges I met, but because it was from me, nobody told me to start it, so I was able to persevere and go through all these challenges. But you see, if it was something I was pushed to do, I think the first setback would have put me off, because I remember the first day, I got 2 rounds. I had called a cameraman to come, and he had promised he was coming. We talked the night before, so he assured me that tomorrow we are going to meet. Now, because we had talked the night before, foolish was I that in the morning I woke up and went, so we were to meet in Christ the King and take our first interviews there. I reached there, we were to meet there at 8 because we didn't know exactly what time mass was going to begin or which mass was starting when. So we said we go at 8. If maybe the second mass begins at 8, then we attend that one of the second mass, and then after that we interview the people who attended the second mass. So that would be around 10. So me, I woke up and went. I reached there. I would not see a trace of him, so I presumed that maybe he came early and is in. So when the mass came, the people came out. I didn't go in immediately, so I was looking around to see if I would see him. I wouldn't. Then I decided to go. This is now, actually it was 10. I went in for the 10 o'clock mass, and it ended at noon time, and then I came out. So I was looking for this guy. He's nowhere. So I decided to call. When I called, his phone was off. Hey, you can imagine the frustration. I was so devastated. So I was like, he didn't come. The phone is off. Where do I turn to? So I had to come back home. Then I was getting him very late in the evening. So I asked him what went wrong. I had a lot of stories. And then he promised me that the following week we would meet. Foolish angel, I still believed. So came Sunday. Also to Christ the King. Oh my Lord, he was nowhere to be seen. So I just gave up on him and decided to look for a different one. So those challenges you see when they come and you are not prepared for them, they just knock you down. So that's why I'm saying for Agnes, life has been difficult for her because she is not the one who chose to come out. She was decided for it. She's facing a lot of challenges. Still, she has not accepted. Maybe like she's out, and she said she loved the congregation so much. When the first time she entered there, for her it was heaven. Actually, that's what she said. I entered into heaven, but I was not left to stay there. So you can imagine somebody who enters into heaven, and we all desire to go to heaven, and we have never seen it, but we believe it is a place where we will enjoy, we get good things, and we live peacefully and all this. Then when somebody takes you out of that place, how will you feel? And then out of that place you are taken to the worst place. So this thing of Agnes, actually, because I have known Agnes for the longest time, and that's why I was concerned also that parents should know that there are a lot of these people, because now even her parents do not really understand it. Let's say nobody understands her. So it brought me to where we are today and where I began in about 3 months ago, because I started in October, end of October. We are here today because we want to answer those who are asking, like, why did you choose this niche of religious life? It's because I want the families of like Agnes and many others whom have not gotten to interview and hear their stories, but I know them through the back door. I want those families to understand that this is the life. It is not something new in the church. It has been there the longest time ever. And out here, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of these people. Let's say there are trillions of people out here who have entered religious life and left after some time. Some live after days, some live after months, some live after decades, and others live after a lifetime. Because I know of a sister who left when she was really, really old, and you would wonder, sister, where are you going? What are you going to do? Aren't you old enough just to stay there and wait for your death? But she was like, no, even if it is 2 days, let me enjoy it outside. And then somebody would wonder, will ask, but why? Why would you leave where you have stayed for the rest of your life since you were youth, maybe up to the age of 40? But I want to say that values change. What you value so much today will not necessarily be what you value tomorrow. As we sleep and wake up, values change. And that's what we should all understand. And in life, what we are looking for is peace. So if you don't have peace, why would you be in somewhere where you are not peaceful and nobody has tied you? Like, you are not conditioned to stay there. If you are not conditioned to stay in a particular place and you feel like I'm not secure or I'm not peaceful, I'm not happy, I'm not jovial, joyous, you just have to leave. Like another thing, like, I think there are enough reasons why people should leave places or friendships that don't make them happy. Like, the richest life is like a marriage which has failed. Let's say the first day you met with your wife or your husband, you were so attracted to him or her, and you saw like, this is the person of my choice, can be the love of my life. But then when you go to stay with this person, I don't know what happens. You start discovering some flaws. And then after some time, you realize, I think I don't know this person. That's why you will hear words like, I don't know where I was looking at when I married him. Well, this is not the person I fell in love with the first day. We have heard of such conversations from married friends, and they are not pleasing. When somebody tells you that, really, I regret to have met you. Well, now, how do you regret to have met your husband, your wife, whom you've lived together for 10 or 15 years? It's very discouraging. And I like what Michelle Obama says, like, you have to know the things that will make your marriage work, and you have to know that there is no perfect marriage. You have just to learn the other person and leave the things that don't really matter. Like, you don't have an argument and then you are like, no, we separate. No, that's not the way. But I would say that is the way in the richest life. Once there is a problem, I think the easiest is like, no, we have to separate. So you have to go leave us here peacefully. Because I don't find forgiveness in religious life, and I'm not apologetic about this. It is happening. We know, we have seen, we have done it. People don't know how to forgive. They only know how to despair. Yeah, somebody does a minor mistake, but she or he is dispelled from the church, and life continues as if nothing happened. And then there is no follow-up, like, of this person, where she or went, what is happening. you disconnect. And even if you come to look for a trace of like, was there any connection between these people and this person, you can't find it. So it's also a request to the church that it's good to forgive. Learn how to forgive, because forgiveness is everywhere in the Bible. And Jesus was really insisting on love. So even today's gospel, it was about love. So we talk of love, and how do you love somebody whom you don't forgive? Where does love come in? So let us learn to forgive as the church. Instead of sending people home, forgive them for the sins they have committed. If we can call them sins, because I don't even know which sin they commit, but let people be forgiven and given time. Because actually I talked to a particular Christian whom I interviewed, and he was like, it was of the what I'm saying. He was like, why is the church not forgiving these people and let them continue serving in the church instead of sending them home? Like, at home you can do all the nasty things, but you can't do them here. If it's like I find schools actually very accommodative, because when students, most schools, not all, but in most schools, when a student commits a mistake or a sin, it's not expansion that works in most schools. The students is called, their disciplinary committee is called, and maybe the parent is called, and they talk through this thing and come to a conclusion that this person has to be helped to change into this thing. Not like expansion all the time. But I find it's the opposite in the church. Expansion. Once you do some things, more expansion. Sometimes people have claimed they don't even know what they did home. It's not really going to help sending people home, and you are making people maybe hate the church. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday night, and what she told me, I'm still surprised about it, and I'm just wondering, why is it so hard to accommodate people who are poor? Because this lady doesn't have much, and she stays next to the church. It happened. That's where she bought her land. She's staying close to the church, and now she was asking me, I can't be given anything in the church to do. Like, she wants to be employed at least in the church. There are so many things that so many works in the church that she can do. She's learned, and she has skills and gifts that she can work in the church and get paid. But then she's not given an opportunity anywhere in the church to do. So she was telling me, like, she has stopped going to the church, and she's just doing her own things in her own. She's not bothered with going to the church. So I was like, wow, that is really something, but you need to go back to the church. But she was telling me the whole of this year, you see, we are in just February, and she told me the whole of this year I'm not going to step into the church. So what is that really we are forming in people's minds and in people's lives? Can't we be merciful a little bit? I'm not claiming that I'm so merciful, but as a church, a church is a collection of people. It's not individual. Why can't this church look at this lady and just give her something that she can do so that she can earn a living? We can see ways of helping, and I can also urge Christians out here that when you are giving to the church, those people who are already in the church, you are, like, when you are giving money to a priest, a sister, or a brother, remember there is another one who was here and is not here and is suffering somewhere else. So consider also that person, and especially if you know the person, because like this lady in her church, she's known by almost everybody that she was an earth and she left. Why can't you Christians, not even necessarily a priest or in the church compound, Christians in that church, why can't you help this lady who is desperate? She doesn't have money, she doesn't have basic needs. I have tried to help her, but I'm also not in that position of like really helping. But if we can all at least help, some of you will know the person I'm talking about, because those who are in her church will know she doesn't come these days, and I think she stopped coming in January, so you will know, and you know that you know her. So some of you know her. Please help this lady something. So again, as I was saying, the reasons for this needs was to help parents get to understand that it's life that is happening to many people, and so that's why I chose this thing. Now I want to summarize on this part of this niche of religious life. It is good for everybody to know that this thing has happened to so many people that you don't know about, and that you will never know about, but it is so many. Because if you hear from Brother Fernand's video, he said that they were 6 when they entered, and he was the last person to leave. Among the 6 people who entered, right now as I speak, there is not even a single person who is in there. And Bernard was the last one to leave, and remember he said he left in 2013, so you can imagine. And I think he had entered in something like 99. So you can see that span of years, how many people have left. 6, all of them left. Then in this Serene Agnes, she also said there were 6 in her group when they entered, and she was the second last person to leave, and the one she left behind left after a few years after Agnes. So also in this group of Agnes of 6 people, there is none that is there. Agnes left in 2008, so I guess this other person left in something like 2012. So you can see 6 people have already all left. Then there is Francisca, whose video I'm yet to upload and we listen to. She also said they entered 5, and right now as we speak it's only one who is in. Francisca was also the second person to leave. She left in they were 5, she was the second, she left in 3, but right now it's only one person who is still assisting that congregation. So what am I saying? In the a group of 3 people who were 6, 6 and 5, so these are 12 plus 5, 17 people. In a group of 17 people, we have only 1 left. So 16 people have left. And do you know these 16 people? I don't even know them. We will never get to know them. So I'm saying, like, there are so many people who have left. You will never get to hear about them. You will never get to see them. But they left. So when you watch these 3 people, don't condemn them or don't think like, hey, these are the ones who are not able to make it. Know that they are how many? These are, we said they are 17. Know that now we have 3, so we have 14 more people that you will never get to see. You will never get to know, that are out here with us. So when these families of, let's say, these families of 3 people get to know about these 14 who are behind, whom we will never get to know, it will help them understand that people leave, people left. And when they know that people leave and people left, at least it will cool their hearts, and it might bring them back to the normal functioning of their activities. Because I really felt for these people for a long time, and I thank God I got this chance to explain about it, and I hope that it is going to help, because that is my main reason. That's my main thing. That is all that I want, that families will get to understand that this thing is as old as the church, and it has happened to so many people, and it will continue happening. Actually, I say, like, every day there's somebody leaving the congregation. For me, that's what I believe. And I use the analogy of death. Every day somebody's dying. You know the person, you don't know the person, but remember, every day